Google is starting to answer Microsoft with its own AI tools. The European Union is starting AI regulation with the United States to follow. France is cracking down on irresponsible advertising by influencers. And you can now move your computer mouse with a webcam and your face. All that and more next on The Computer Doctor Show.
You're listening to The Computer Doctor Show, your source for technology subjects affecting your business and personal life during this new normal. Your host is an award-winning office technician and IT specialist, author, tutor, ethical hacker, and recent winner on localbest.com as the best computer shop in Tucson. Broadcasting live, here's Aaron Moss.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Computer Doctor Show, your headquarters for up-to-date scam awareness, science, and cutting-edge technology talk. This is episode 130. I'm Aaron Moss, your host. Thanks for tuning in with us every Saturday at 2 p.m., and we post all of our shows and bonus content on ComputerDoctorShow.com and the Computer Doctor Show YouTube channel. Co-hosting today, we have Mike from the Cassie Unscrewed Theater.
Hello.
Thank you for being with us today, and good to see you over the past weekend. Good to see you here as well.
Happy to be here.
And also a reminder to please support our sponsors. So if you are looking for top quality auto repairs that exceed your expectations, look no further than Perfection Auto Works. The team of expert technicians at Perfection Auto Works takes pride in getting the job done right the first time with a level of workmanship that ensures perfection in every job. From routine maintenance to major repairs, Perfection Auto Works aims to surpass their customers' expectations. Visit Perfection Auto Works to experience why they are the trusted name in auto repair. Call 323-8650 or visit perfectionautoworks.com. Perfection Auto Works, where perfection is not just a word, it's their commitment. And remember, if you like the Computer Doctor Show, please support our sponsors. We have a great technology show for you, and we have a whole bunch of highlights of things that are happening in this technology world. Number one is Google is starting to answer Microsoft with its own AI tools. So AI is the 2023 thing. It's going bonkers now. The AI boom started in November of 2022. And the big and small technology companies alike are forming subtools called generative AI tools.
Right.
And Microsoft was fast out of the gate to implement AI in its products, including the dreaded Edge browser. Okay, and it actually got me kind of going the Microsoft Edge way, but I'm not quite there yet. I was able to mess around with a few of their tools, but what Google is doing now, it's starting to catch up with its AI suite of products called Duet AI.
Duet.
Duet, like two-person musical ensemble, right?
Okay.
So similar to Microsoft, Duet AI is not available to the general public just yet. Some of the features that you can look forward to is called Sidekick is one of them. So the Microsoft Edge browser has what's called the sidebar of tools. So Google has the Sidekick. Okay.
Makes sense.
And I guess that might be some sort of side thing that's maybe on their browser.
Okay.
But some of the advantages of the Sidekick, which is will be able to read, summarize, and answer questions on documents across different Google apps.
Okay, so like a Drive and all that stuff.
Yes. So if you are someone that uses Google Docs, Google Spreadsheets, any of those documents, of course, there's Google Drive, and there's a whole... I don't think any other organization has more apps than Google. So if they're making generative AI as part of something that can work on either all their apps or majority of their apps, that's something to turn our heads.
Yes.
Also, image generation. Google is getting to image generation or text-to-image technology. That's where you type in something that you would like to see a picture of, and it'll generate. So you can say Woody Woodpecker eating apples, or Tom Hanks eating a banana. It'll do that. I did Michael Jordan eating a hamburger, and it actually made Michael Jordan
with a hamburger.
Not Michael B. Jordan, like the real Michael Jordan. Our generation Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So there's also Writing Assistant for Google Docs and Gmail. A lot of people have been using that other service that corrects your language. And,
Grammarly.
Grammarly, yeah. So a lot of people have been using Grammarly. So there's going to be a Google version of the Grammarly. It's basically a writing bot that will be available on mobile devices as well. It's a service called Help Me Write, which is an upgrade from the already existing Smart Compose. And these are all Google products. Some of them are going to be available in browsers. Some of them are going to be available on mobile apps. So we'll keep you informed of those. Also, the European Union is starting AI regulation. AI regulation. This is something that we had covered in the past. And what's interesting about the AI regulation is it's kind of setting the standard. The EU is setting the standard for it, and lots of other countries and authorities are starting to look at what the EU is doing, since they're kind of the first ones making some sort of advancement with the regulation.
Yeah, they're leading the way with it.
They're leading the way, and they've come up with some pretty interesting things. First of all, the regulations of all providers of AI services and products are expected to become the de facto global standard for artificial intelligence. Most of the focus, as far as the EU is concerned, is on large foundation applications like ChatGPT. There's lots of generative AI tools that are out there. They're coming out by the dozens and by the hundreds. Okay, every time you turn around, there's a new AI tool that's being released and being tested and starting to be used.
Right.
Now, the United States is also advancing its efforts with regulating AI. It's only in the research stages. It's not as far ahead as like the EU is, but $140 million has been budgeted for 7 new AI research institutes. So there are some universities and institutes that are starting to do research on the long-term effects of AI and how it can be regulated and where the boundaries should be.
Interesting.
So we'll keep you informed as far as that goes as well. Also, France is cracking down on irresponsible advertising by influencers. So we know what an influencer is. So traditional advertising. So we're talking about like when we see commercials on TV.
Yeah.
Commercials for cereal, commercials for toys, commercials for cars.
Right.
Okay. Those types of advertisements, they have to be within a certain space where, number one, the information that you're sharing is true
and accurate.
You can't be accused of false advertising.
Right.
For example, if you're advertising like something alcoholic or something of a drug, for example, it's illegal to drink beer in a commercial. To actually drink the beer, you can hold the beer, you can shake the beer, but you actually can't drink the beer in the commercial. That's like a thing. So when it comes to influencers, what are the regulations
for them?
Because they're not traditional advertising.
No.
So the legislation will ban So this is happening in France. So French legislation will ban commercial influencers, that is those that are making money from their influence.
Right.
They are banning commercial influencers from promoting cosmetic surgery, financial products, services such as cryptocurrencies and counterfeit products, obviously. It will also force creators to disclose when they place filters on photos and videos that are ads. So if you have like some sort of makeup advertisement, you can't use a filter to promote that. Like this is like the before and the after. Okay.
Kind of like truth in advertising, basically.
Yes.
Yeah.
So a lot of the same things having to do with traditional advertising, they're trying to push these same regulations on these influencers. So what is an influencer? What is technically an influencer? Because in order for them to do this, they had to define what an influencer is.
I'd be curious what they come up to. I could probably come up with something in my head, but
they have concluded that it is someone that has 10,000 followers across multiple. It can be from one social media platform or a combination or a total. They say it's about 10,000. But 10,000 is the absolute minimum, because at 20,000 you're only considered a micro influencer at 20,000.
Right.
$30,000 followers, okay, At 30,000 followers, you're no longer a micro influencer. You're more like a medium influencer.
Right.
And then you have like the millions of subscribers, and those are like your
Megas.
your megas. And then you have like the Mr. Beast guys. You know, they have like 100 million. You know, followers.
Yeah.
Anything that they do, the entire world is watching, and they have tremendous influence over
Yeah.
what they put in their video and what they say in their videos, because so many people are viewing it. So these are some of the things that are being proposed in France, and obviously the United States may follow. But here's something interesting. If someone has violated some of these boundaries, they can face fines and imprisonment.
Yeah.
Okay.
It makes a sense, you know.
Yeah, so, you know, when you have that type of influence and you are you're presenting something to the public, and more eyes are on you than, say, like legitimate, authorities, then you kind of have a responsibility to the public. Okay, you can't just say anything at that point when you have
Right.
that many people, watching you. But that's why it's all about in the way the letter of the law is written. But hey, if you're thinking about becoming an influencer, please do it right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And don't do it in France.
That's right. The White House is also renewing its Executive Order 13873. This was an executive order that was signed by President Trump in May of 2019, and it declared the national emergency with respect to the threat of United States information and communications technology and services posed by foreign adversaries. And this week, President Biden had renewed that emergency.
Okay.
So we're still in the state of emergency. Surprise. And I agree, we are still in the state of emergency. There's lots of information and communication threats that are still out there.
Always.
The electric vehicle demand is making battery manufacturers look for more sources of battery elements, such as nickel. And they found a handsome supply in Indonesia, and the Indonesian government is happy to comply.
Sure.
Despite environmental risks and the lack of regulation for hazardous waste management. So in order to get nickel out of the raw materials, there's an acid leaching technology that's used to extract nickel from low-grade laterite ore in a factory. And it poses a steep environmental cost, and they have to be accounted for. So those are some of the decisions that are being looked at right now as the world looks for more elements to make more batteries.
Yeah.
Okay.
And different chemistries as well, besides nickel,
different
cobalt, and all
chemistries
that.
and technologies too.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to take our midway commercial break. We're gonna, with a word from our sponsors. Up next, science and tech history from this week, and more rapid tech reports, including how you can move your computer mouse with a webcam and your face. This is the Computer Doctor Show. We'll be right back.
On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country and to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times and to keep myself.
No matter how Boy Scout you are, car, truck, and SUV breakdowns are going to happen at some point in your life. Why not lessen that threat with a mechanic shop that looks for safety and offers a free trip check and codes check for the vehicle you trust your life to?
You can count on Perfection Auto Works for all of your auto and truck repair needs. Done right the first time. That's our pledge to you. We specialize in all cars, foreign and domestic. Call Perfection Auto Works today at 323-8650. That's 323-8650 or at perfectionautoworks.com. 323-8650.
Computer Doctor of Tucson is the best choice in desktop support in Tucson. They fix error messages, power and boot problems, install of software and hardware, and much more. You can come to them, or they can come to you, or even have a remote support session so they can fix your issues over the phone quickly. Give them a call at 261-5508, 261-5508. Visit them on the web at computerdoctortucson.com. Computer Doctor of Tucson, because technology is great when it works.
Welcome back to the Computer Doctor Show, your source for scam awareness, science, and cutting-edge technology talk. I'm Aaron Moss, your host, along with Mike, co-hosting today from the Unscrewed Theater. Before we get into the next segment, Mike, what can you tell us about the Unscrewed Theater?
All right. The Unscrewed Theater was Tucson's first theater dedicated to improv comedy and improvisational theater. We've been open since 2014, January 2014. We do all ages appropriate shows every Friday and Saturday night at 7:30. We teach classes. It's a good time. You were at our show last week.
Yes, I had a wonderful time. I saw the famous Laura Hall, great on the piano. You should have more music. Music and improv, man, they just go together so well.
They go together.
All right. We're going to take a look at some science and tech history. Mike, you have the paper. Why don't you start us off there?
Yeah, there's some great ones this week. May 10th, 1877, 146 years ago, President Rutherford Hayes has the first telephone installed in the White House. I thought that was amazing.
146. You know, the interesting thing about it is the telephone was invented just 1 year prior to this,
Right.
and it was the first presidential call would not happen till some 15 years later. Now you would say, why 15 years after installing a telephone would you make it was the first presidential phone call? So there was probably a whole bunch of unrelated presidential phone calls that had nothing to do with the presidency. Phone calls, and it was actually to Thomas Edison, the presidential phone call. So,
is that right?
That is correct. Do you know what the phone number for the White House was?
111-1111.
Not even.
No.
It was just one.
What?
It was one.
It was one.
One. That is the phone number.
That's who you dialed.
Yes. So apparently now we're up to 10 digits. And as I understand it, those 10 digits are going to last us for another 25 years, at least.
Makes sense.
Okay.
There's a lot of iterations with those 10 digits.
Yep. All right. What else do we have there?
May 10th, 1869, which is 154 years ago, Transcontinental Railroad was completed, unifying the United States.
Okay. Very good. So it was in Promontory Summit, Utah. Am I saying that right? Promontory Summit, Utah. That's where the East and the West actually hooked together, and they were able to unify. Prior to that, it took several months to travel from the East Coast to the West Coast of the United States. Months.
And
then it was then it can be done in a matter of days because of this railroad. So hats off to that speedy transportation, making things happen 154 years ago. Also, May 13th, what do we have there?
May 13th, 1980, 43 years ago, Digital Equipment, Intel, and Xerox jointly announced the Ethernet network specifications. Ethernet is the predominant networking standard of today's business and home networks.
Okay, so this actually started a long time. Now, by the way, I used to work for Xerox.
I didn't know that.
Back in the day, I was fixing copiers, but I wasn't part of their networking team. But back then, there was this network standard that was called 10BASE-5, which had a max speed of 10 megabits per second. And now, after multiple advancements of internet protocols, TCP/IP, they're even trying to figure out that they can go faster just by simply twisting the wires every so many twists per inch.
Wow.
They can extrapolate more speed that way. Now we're up to 10 gigabytes per second in the same 8-pin configuration. So that's 10 times faster than it was 43 years ago.
That's amazing.
Very, very fast, and soon we're going to need even faster because people are gobbling up 10 megabits, 10 gigabits.
The bandwidth is every time it's increasing
every time you turn around.
Yeah.
Okay, what else do we have?
May 15th, 1918, 105 years ago, the first U.S. airmail service stamps were sold. I said stole. U.S. airmail service stamps sold.
It may have been stolen.
It may have been
also.
stolen too. Yeah, someone might have.
Right. So it was from Washington D.C. to New York City, and the airmail service still had started, but it's since now everything is going through the United States Postal Service. United States Postal Service does not really use planes; they outsource them now. With the exception of a few remote areas where the airmail is actually dropped into remote areas by pallet, I guess, or something.
With USPS owned and operated things. Right?
Exactly. Those are the only exceptions.
Yeah.
But lots of those things are now outsourced. Also, most important, can I say this one? Okay.
Absolutely.
May 16th, 2020, 3 years ago, first episode of the Computer Doctor Show.
Yay!
We are 3 years old, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
May 16th is my third son's birthday.
Oh, okay.
So it's coming up.
All right, super. All right, here's some rapid tech reports to finish us out with the time that we have left. AI cloning software is on the rise. So what scammers are doing these days, they're trying to trick victims by making a phone call, and it's not that hard to get a signature on someone's voice. Okay, so many people are making videos on YouTube, on their social media. You can take the sound of their voice and you can put it into a cloning software. It's not that expensive, and then they can recreate a speech or a sentence that sounds exactly like that person, and they can play that message back on to a family member, and they can pretend that you have a family member that's been kidnapped or that's in dire straits or in trouble.
Yeah.
They can use that to influence you to send them money or any one of these other usual scamming things. So just beware that someone that sounds like somebody that you know might be on the phone calling you. So have your scripts ready for that. Also, the Federal Trade Commission held an interesting cloud computing meeting to collect information of the use of cloud computing to see how it can be improved. One of the main concerns was outages. If an outage were to happen, what would be the widespread impact and the recovery plan. Also, security risks, including misconfiguration of cloud resources and how some of these settings can be exploited on these services. And also, should there be a way for a company to move their cloud services from one service to another?
Right.
And anyone that has ever had a website that they wanted a different host for their website, how do you move a website from one host to another? It's very, very difficult, okay? And it's spewing into what is called a monopoly of a service. And the United States is not like monopolies at all, so they're trying to break that up. And that's what the FTC is doing. And a quick tech tip, the jury duty scam is taking place in Hawaii and Oregon. And what they'll try to do, they'll try to convince you that you've missed your jury duty date, and then they'll say that you have to pay a $20,000 fine or $5,000 fine, and then they'll try to get you to pay that over the phone. Here is our last report. You can now move your computer mouse with your facial movements.
I haven't heard of this one.
Okay, this is, so it runs through your webcam. You load this software onto your computer. And I forgot to write down, I have the link to it, but it's a service through Google. I believe it's called, I forget the name of it. Oh man, I should have wrote it down.
Yeah.
But it's through Google. We'll have the link to it on the website. But it basically, you can move your mouth, you can move your eye, you can set it to, you can move your cheeks, kind of like what Stephen Hawking does. You know, when he's communicating, he uses facial movements. But that was a very, very early version of this software. So now it is available to anyone that wants to not move their arms, but only want to move their face.
Right.
Okay. There was this guy that was being interviewed. He has muscular dystrophy.
Right.
He can't really move his arms, but he was actually playing these high resolution video games with his face.
With his face.
Yeah, and he was shooting at enemies with his face. maybe when he winks, he shoots, and when he winks with the other way.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's actually pretty cool. He was
cool.
very, very excited about it, and I'm sure there's lots of other applications that can use this type of technology. And again, we'll have the name of that service, and it's a free tool that, and it only uses your webcam so that you can move your mouse through this service. And I think that is pretty much it for the show. So we're going to just go ahead and wrap up, and I just want to thank our sponsor, Perfection Auto Works, again for sponsoring our show. Stop by their location near Speedway in Craycroft and for your free 26-point inspection, and always tell them that you heard it on the Computer Doctor Show. Always give us that plug. As always, don't click unverified links in emails or text messages. Use a password manager. Always look at the address bar check activity on your bank statements on a regular basis, enable two-factor authentication, verify all incoming and outgoing calls, back up your system to the cloud, and listen to the Computer Doctor Show live on Saturdays and post it as podcasts on Tuesdays. If you missed any part of this episode, go to computerdoctorshow.com, click episodes, and find episode 130. My name is Aaron Moss, your host and technology expert. Mike co-hosting today from the Unscrewed Theater. Tom Fairbanks is at the control board. Stay safe, enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we'll talk to you again next week.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Computer Doctor Show. If you missed any part of this live broadcast, we post all our episodes online at computerdoctorshow.com. Remember, the world is getting more and more tech, and so should you. To stay current with technology, listen to the Computer Doctor Show each week for local and global tech insights. If you have suggestions for a topic on a future show, send us an email at info@computerdoctorshow.com.